Ja, Zechwastesta, TD Sha, Tizias Chach, T Tatabaftis Chetwid, T or Uta, louse at Chad or Stab Quazo Togut or Ta Stab Quazo Togut Taush. Hey, Taush, right? No, the Hila, Artidisha, this Chitwood, Chitwood, TE, the Uranus Americanus, Cheatwood, Bear Cub. Cheatwood, Bear Cubs. Right? A little bit, little yolk so it tastes all tia, all tahila, all the buxad, all the colari, tahila, huela hub, all tidisha, huela hub, ushuru chaf ti colari, ushuru shad ti buxad, ushuru si tia chalish. The Stratquid. But the Stabtabo Stratquid. Stabtabo ETE Southern Lushitsi different, right? Northern Lushitsi Stabtabo. Grizzly bear. Stratquid. Doof Lushitsi. Oh. All right, let's check with Ohila Tichalish. Ultimate Mon Hoit little Timit Mon Chalish. Meatman Hilk Meatman. Hilk Meatman. Chalish T Chalish. Ohila T Chalish T Meatman Whitla retract. Whitla retract. Oshuru Chaf T Buxid. Buxid T T Chutwood T Brown. Alta Hoof color. Black, brown, and cinnamon. So not all Strutwoods are all black. Strutwood could be 3 different colors. Strutwood could be a soft brown, a cinnamon, or a black fur. Hila. Wait the hump, all TD shot. Huk Kalari. Oh. Chetwa Bipda. Cheat. 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 The Bipda. Ti Will. Su. Ti. Shu. Dacho. Ti Shu. Bipda. Huitla. Hila. Ti Bipda. Should. Whitley should be Bipda. Alta Dutcho to half a Dutcho pound at birth. Takes about a year. Ti ushud ti ashid ushud ti kokwa ti Bipda. Interesting factoids. Chad Kui Stuckwub T Shashel. Shashel TB or Stretquid to dense forests. They can adapt to different habitats. Let's see. Slothville to caves, burrows, tree trunks, bushes, and grass nests. They collect grass and leaves to pad their dens. Stab, Quees, O Uthid, T Stretquid. What do the Stretquids eat? T Stretquid, Uthid, T grass, roots, tumbers, nuts, squalafid, T-cos, squalafid, sulad, I forget what the word for insects are, but there's insects. The word for insects. It's hot ala cup or hot. Stretquid T sulad. Okay. The black bears really love their salmon, right? But they gotta eat about like 5 pounds of food daily. All right. Oh yeah, Chad. Yeah. Like, comment, subscribe if you want more information about black bears. Visit those websites. I don't know what other information you want on black bears, but if you want any other more information on black bears and what they eat and how they hunt and how to hunt them and how to clean them. We can get that going.
You should have called me and reminded me of language class. I was over there sitting in court.
Oops.
So we got any other folks on with us today?
Doesn't look like it.
Oh,
We just went through my black bear presentation. So culturally standpoint is that this is a traditional stories. After every sentence of a traditional story, the audience would say habo. So I would say Lady Louse lived in a big house, right? After I said that, the audience, all of the audience would say habo. So this is so that you don't get a hunchback. Okay. We're not paying attention. This is to show the speaker, the storyteller, that you are listening to the traditional narrations of the story and you're paying attention. And it is more common for the indigenous and Salish community to speak even when there are speakers on the floor speaking.
For storytelling?
For storytelling or people speaking. It's not abnormal for people to say, hey, oh, e,
Oh,
oh,
okay, I got it now.
yeah.
I caught up.
And then when it moves them as such, okay, so in a regular story, if I'm just standing there, speaking, I'd be like, Lady Louse lived in a big house. Hey, instead of just habo, right? Habo is for traditional story. This is a traditional story, but let's take the traditional story part out, and I'm just speaking just to speak. At the end of that, most everybody would actually use A or O, and some would use E, right? In some instances, depending on where you're at in the Salish community, right? Lady Louse lived in a big house. Hey.
oh,
Right. Now, then again, if it moved you and it touched you so much, right? It touched your hutch just so, and you felt like you needed to say it, you would say e siab or o siam. Depending on which variant you want to use, go ahead and use it. And it would be like as such. She was all alone. Again, that's period point. So period points is where you'd say A or O. She was all alone. A.
Oh. Oh.
Yeah. She had no friends or relatives.
Oh.
Yeah, see. Then she took and swept this house of hers.
Oh.
So if that touched your heart, saying that, yes, I mean, she had no friends or relatives, so she decided to clean up her house. And if that touched you in a way that you would say, yes, I strongly agree with that, right? That's when you'd say e siap or o siam. The same thing in the language. Pre-contact, we had no B's and D's, we had M's and N's. And if you switch out the B to an M, you come out with O siam or A siam, right? A-O, yeah. So if it touches your heart just enough, you would say that. And if it really moves you, you would be thanking the speaker for saying that words, in which means primarily be Haichka Siam or Tigritsi Siam, right? Thanking the speaker for saying those particular words. If it moved you that much, right? Kashikwil.
Oh, shit.
Right? And then those are all those other ones. Now, if you did not believe what the speaker was saying, there were also the other words to say too. There's also sa, which is bad. Hui is no. Stop.
Oh.
Actually, that's more like shut up. But there were still those.
Shut up.
There were still more responses back to that.
Difference.
Yeah, there's the it just means stop it now.
Oh.
And then those would be said at the end of the sentence, letting the whole thing just to go by. So if you didn't like that sentence and there was a lot of filth, you could say sa, right? It's just to more engage the audience and have the audience more engaged into the story rather than hunching back and looking down at the phones. Oh, at that time they didn't have phones. They were just looking down and not paying attention. So this was a way for them to pay attention. Now I went through yes, Habu. The other ones? I think I went through them all. Definitely the four main ones. O, Osiam, Asiab, Paichka Siab, Paichka Siam. What was that last one? Oh, Habu. Definitely those ones. So traditional stories, these will all end in Habu, right? Just because. All right. So focusing on saying Habu at the end of every of these sentences. And it'll actually help you engage in the story so that you're actually paying attention. So I'm going to go through the English first just to give it a good practice before we do the Lashitsi part. And as you see here, there is this period point here, and you do say Habu there as well as the other one. It's just that up here, I think it's right here is where that one is. No, that'd still be here. No. Okay, that one's just confusing.
There's only one Habu in
Those two.
the Shutsit for that.
All right, let's go. Lady Louse lived in a big house.
Habu.
She was all alone. She had no friends or relatives.
Habu.
So then she took and swept her house of hers.
Habu.
There was a lot of filth.
Habu.
Just when she got to the middle of it in the house, then she got lost.
habo,
Slowly, slowly, louse disappeared.
habo,
Yes. And that is how habo works. All right. Did you pay attention a little bit more?
yes,
See, it helps actually adding that stuff in, especially because of our minds tuned to that in the speeches. Oh, yeah. And then I forgot, there's the words for encouragement. Now, you got to remember, the people were more encouragement than they were discouragement of anything. And if a storyteller was kind of bashful about telling a story, the crowd would actually start getting in and saying the name of the individual and then saying Yahoo, right? So if Katie wanted me to tell the story in Lashutsi, all she'd be doing is saying "Sehwa Yahoo, Sehwa Yahoo," and then then everybody else jumped in. And it was more of an encouragement part than anything else. It's like,
our culture was based on positive reinforcement. So we're trying to encourage people, uplift them. They did something awesome. Hey, you did good. You're doing something good. Oh, that's a good daughter. Oh, that's a good kid.
and that's the culture into this language bit that it's not been said, that hasn't been said for a while, that but it should be put into our speeches and put it into our classes, because it will help you learn and understand how the language is working and how it pertains with our culture, and bring this back for everybody to say habu or a or o after every part of the end of the sentence. And knowing and understanding there is a difference between the colonials and the Salishan culture, right? There's a big differences. One, the colonial ways, everybody has to be quiet, nobody talks. It all has to be quiet. And then the Salishan culture, they allowed the comment back to the speaker to say, yes, we're paying attention. Habo, I'm paying attention, right? So there was no guesswork on the student and the teacher.
But if we were to read a letter like this one, H-O-C-I-S-E-E should see
Eh,
H-O-C-I-S-E-E should see
eh,
H-O-C-I-S-E-E should see
eh,
H-O-C-I-S-E-E should see
eh.
On April 22nd, 2021.
Hey,
Dear Stephanie Ironheart,
hey,
1095 Price Street, Darrington.
hey,
Dear Mrs. Ironheart, Thank you for reporting your potential COVID-19 exposure. Following CDC guidelines, fully vaccinated people with no COVID-like symptoms do not need to quarantine or be tested following an exposure to someone with suspected or confirmed COVID-19, as their risk of infection is low. Fully vaccinated people who do not quarantine should still monitor for symptoms of COVID-19 for 14 days following an exposure. If you should start to display symptoms of COVID-19, please do not return to work and report this to Human Resources immediately. If you still feel as though you would like to quarantine, you may use your available sick leave or vacation leave for up to 10 days, calendar days from the date of exposure, with approval by your supervisor. If you have any questions, please reach out to me on my direct line, 360-436-2205. Sincerely, Jody Brown. What was your experience there? Did you feel like you had to say haboo?
No, Habo is for traditional stories or traditional narratives.
Yeah, I
that
just
one-
wanted you to make it clear.
Oh, okay. That one you would be using A or O at the dot
Or ACF.
or ACM,
OCM.
OCM if it hits you right. Or you could say sa if you really wanted to. If you really disagree with
If I hear you say saw, then what am I gonna do as the speaker at the end of this, reading this thing?
That's when they would deliberate on what was wrong with that wording. And that's what I believe
They
what
who-
happened, the presenter and the group. These are just hypotheses at this point in time. I cannot go back in the past and get this confirmed.
I know, because I used to sit in council meetings from when I was, whatever age I was, 8 years old, I think.
Mm.
And those were very traditional council meetings I used to go to. Not everybody in the room talked. And if I heard a disagreement, even if I stood up and walked out of the room, that's another sign. So when you notice that about the group that you're presenting this to, then you say, Mr. Arnhart, it seems that you didn't agree with this one sentence. What was it? And then the floor is all yours. You could tell them why you think it was bad. And then everybody else will, if they got opposing views, they get a chance to stand up and talk. Nobody else discusses anything, just that one individual. I think our meetings were like that here too, because I went to those meetings here. You got to hear all the facts before the decision gets made. And you feel, okay, that gave us some information, but it wasn't enough to have a discussion or have a decision. Yeah.
Yeah. No, what I'm saying is that there were talking back. Like I'm saying, it's at the end of the sentence. It wasn't exactly in the middle of a sentence. There was nothing getting cut off.
Hello?
They weren't exactly cutting people off
Hi,
from their
what's up?
speaking.
So who's working with them on this? You? No, who is he working with to get into this treatment? I don't know who Wendy is.
Slaffel.
A slafflil.
Oh, Lindy?
See,
Well,
Bus
is she
child.
about so you can
Bus
consult
child.
with her? Because I
All
think
to
that they
hip.
usually get
All
a
to
letter with what
Oh.
they're going to
Oh.
bring. And it's not always ahead of time,
Yeah.
it's usually when they get there.
Die.
die,
Sweet.
sweet,
Qui.
quick,
Was.
was,
Yayas.
yes.
Wait.
Yay,
Wait. Hold on. I remember what I did.
wait.
The X and the
Wait.
S is. Yeah. Wait.
Oh,
Wait. No.
wait.
Yeah, what they can and cannot.
Wait.
Because then it's all.
Qui.
It's
Qui.
according to what she's
Wait.
being admitted for.
Was.
Was,
Yayas.
Okay,
yes.
But-
The yeah. Wait, was, yes.
So the S and X are just so just on those. I accidentally, when I was using my typing, I pressed the S instead of the X. So
Typo.
typo. I thought I fixed that last time. Now it's gonna be saved. Saved.
Ta-da.
Ta-da.
The yeah. We. That's not a glottal. Wait.
I thought
Wait.
it's die.
Wait. We. Was. Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes. Was yes. Is yeah.
Was. Was what?
Yeah.
Yes.
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 Yeah.
Yes. So it's like the second glottal is barely said, like it wasn't
Yeah.
as enunciated as the first
Yeah.
glottal. Okay.
Hoi. Hoi go. Wadada. Wal I Wida. Tia al alsh. Hoi go.
Hoi, well,
Quadada. Quadrado.
Cuadrado.
Wall.
Wall.
Equida.
Equida.
Tia.
Tia.
Alsh.
No,
All.
Alls.
yeah,
All-
she's
all.
talking about her house.
Wait, shh. I actually added the shh. Shh. Alls. Wait, the alsh. Wait, the alsh. Jeddah, say what? Hoy, wall,
Hoy. Wall.
quadrado, wall,
Cuadrado. Wall.
equida,
Equida.
tia,
Tia.
alls.
All.
Kashiquil.
Equil.
Hey, the Tatapa T story. You enunciate or elongate the ka instead of just saying ka, right? It'd be kashiquil.
Equil.
Shiquil. Now that Q labulized gray W, you round your lips, you blow out, and you make the Q sound, which is said in the back end of the mouth. Shiquil. Shiquil. Not shake quill. It's not set up in the front of the mouth, it's set towards the back. Shiquil. Shiquil. Shiquil.
I can't say the S without adding a wedge on it.
Well, it is. It's
The C is wet.
The C is wet.
Yeah, that's how it gets to the CH.
I don't say it as a CH, I say it as an SH. Is it supposed to be like
Shiquil. Shiquil.
Oh, maybe it means you drag out the S in it.
Shiquil. Shiquil. So the part is that it's coming from your subsidy with your S, right? And you got your CH labulized, which is Shiquil. Shiquil.
Equil.
Equil.
I'm getting lightheaded. Like,
Too many air balloons.
yeah.
Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. Right now, it's the focusing on that. We're using it. Hooray!
Yay!
Whole.
Oh,
Whole.
oh,
Dugwee.
Dugwee.
Jill.
We Joel. Dugwee Joel.
Doug E. Jill. Jill out.
Dugwee Joel.
O dog we jala.
Jala.
Well,
All tea.
All tea.
All.
All.
Hoi.
Hoi.
Wala.
Wala.
Hoi. Wala.
Hoi. Wala.
So this next one is difficult to explain. You elongate the oo or o on this part. So shoo, shub, shoob. Great.
Shoe.
That is meaning that you're slowly disappearing. Shub, shoob.
Shoe.
Bus chod.
Bus chod. Not the bus chod.
Bush.
Bus
Chod. Bush chod.
chod. Bus chod. Shoe. Bus chod.
Hey. And just like that, you guys squandered another hour away with me. Hoi. Tehech de bootchap, shoot de beat seed, hot quads ish. Hop spoot, shoot spoot. Hey.